Another thing that I want to talk about is like these idiotic belief that these people have where they like frame leftism not as like, or, leftism, anarchism, communism, socialism, because they all label themselves with these various labels or just like a general left label. It's like this idea that what that means is like some sort of like base, just incredibly stupid, nonsensical utilitarianism, like harm reduction or siding with the lesser evil in every single circumstance. But that's not any of those things, because you're not going to fundamentally change society by doing that. Like, it's one thing to just be like, okay, there's two candidates in this election. I'm going to go down, expend a few hours of my time, vote for one of them, while also trying to build a left movement to challenge them in the future or whatever, okay? It's another thing to be like, leftism is when you side with the lesser evil to prevent harm. And that's essentially what these people are at this point. They're not interested in actually like building anything resembling an actual left movement. What they're interested in doing is trying to drive people towards supporting what they perceive as the lesser evil and literally nothing else. And when you do that, you're never ever going to build something of your own, ever. It's a self-defeating logic. Of course, it's going to lead them to this incredibly stupid idea that like Western imperialism is not, or imperialism in general is not like some sort of systemic thing. Rather, it can be good or bad sometimes, which is basically what they're doing right now by celebrating the starvation of the Russian people through the harshest Western sanctions ever imposed on any country in history. Yeah, so it's like they don't believe that like leftism is like building an actual left movement. They don't believe it's like sticking to principles and actually like opposing capitalism and imperialism. It's just like taking whatever scraps you're offered by the status quo. That's what these people believe in. Like not actually doing any sort of anything really meaningful to influence politics to really cause a shift away from the status quo and away from capitalism, but rather just to like make a series of choices between whatever the present system happens to offer you. Fundamentally just a sort of slave mentality, not having agency yourself, just letting the fucking dominant system that you claim to want to overthrow dictate your acceptable range of beliefs. They also usually, pretty much invariably, see building like an actual left movement that meaningfully challenges like the system itself as fundamentally like detrimental. Because, if you actually take the time to build a left movement, say building like a party or something, or a movement that advocates for more than just voting for like the slightly less right-wing party or siding with like an imperialist power on a case-by-case basis, you're threatening like the capacity to do that. So they essentially turn into like these reactionaries who are actually opposed to building that sort of thing, because it could potentially direct people away from siding with the so-called lesser evil and thus reducing harm. Under this sort of idiotic liberal utilitarianism, harm reduction, lesser evilism, you're never going to get to anything resembling socialism, leftism, nothing like it. Not even close, because they're actively hostile to even trying to put in the work and slowly build up anything that could possibly actually do that, because to them, that just takes away from reducing harm by voting for Joseph Biden instead of the guy who he only agrees with on 95% of things.